Hey everyone, I'm April, and today I'm going to show you how to make a giant floor poof. This project calls for just a few materials to make, which is always a plus. I love keeping it simple. You're going to need 5 skeins of Chenille Home by Loops and Threads, which is Michael's store brand of yarn. Today I'm working in the color cream, but I have also made a poof in the color mustard. You're also going to need an 11.5mm crochet hook and maybe about 72 ounces of stuffing. I picked up a whole bunch of buffalo snow after it went on sale this past year. It was like $3 a bag. But I didn't even know they made it anymore. It's that stuff my grandpa used to make those Charles Dickens Christmassy miniature scenes. Please focus, April. Anyway, you can also pick up some polyfill, or you can upcycle some old clothes that aren't fit to donate. I did choose to overstuff my poofs because over time with use, they are going to flatten out a little bit. And that's why I overstuffed them. They look hilarious when they're overstuffed. Now, just a note about this yarn. This is a velvety texture yarn in a category weight 7. Thus far, I have not found any other brand to carry a velvety yarn in a category 7 weight. I've seen it in a 5, but I have not seen it in a 7. So in the event that you're not able to get loops and threads where you are, or if you just choose to work in a different kind of yarn, just make the base of your project the same dimensions as what I will list later in the tutorial, and you should be fine. All right, now that you know what you need, let's get to it. Start out with the slip knot and then chain 51. If you're working in the recommended yarn, your project will wind up being 50 stitches across, and then that 1 in your chain is going to be your turning chain. If you need a refresher on how to start out with the slip knot and a chain, pop over to my other YouTube video tutorial. Okay, so I've chained 51 and I've counted all my chains just to make sure. Now the second chain from my hook, I'm going to insert my hook and single crochet. Then I'm going to single crochet all the way across. Like I said, this first row is going to give you a total of 50 stitches if you're working in the recommended yarn. Once you reach the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. Now starting at row 2 and for all rows after, they're going to be done in the back loop only single crochet. Now typical single crochet is worked under both parts of the stitch like you see here. However, back loop only is inserted through the middle of the stitch, just like what I'm showing here with a darning needle. All right, so I'm going to insert my hook right where I'm poking my finger through. And now I'm going to work a single crochet, just like normal. There we go, and that's a back loop only. All right, let's do it again in the next stitch. I'm going to insert my hook through the middle of the stitch instead of under both parts of the V. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and that's how you work a back loop only single crochet. So you can see after I worked a couple stitches, you start getting this nice little ridge. That's what back loop only single crochet gives you, and it's so beautiful in this project. Once you finish that row of back loop only single crochet, chain 1, turn your work, and continue working rows of back loop only single crochet until you get to about 73 rows, which you don't need to see me do. So hey, let's skip ahead. Perfect. Now this base piece that you're making should measure about 32 inches wide, this is a bit bigger, by 57 inches long. And also don't worry about all these little ends, just tie them off and then tuck them inside when you're done. Now for this next stage, we need to join the 2 short ends together. So I'm going to grab my darning needle and some of my yarn, and I'm actually choosing to double strand this part. So yes, joining the 2 short ends together, I'm lining them up and inserting my darning needle under the outermost stitch so you can see it's going all the way through both of them. And I'm just going to sew back and forth. I'm going to have a little ridge from doing this, but that's okay. I think it blends in quite nicely with the back loop only single crochet. But yes, just go back and forth in between each stitch, and I think it blends in pretty nicely, like I said. So just go back and forth all the way down. Yeah, that's what the ridge looks like. I don't mind it, but if you want to join differently, go ahead. So then I'm going to weave in the ends on both ends of this, just like that. Cut it and then tie it off and just leave it loose inside. This project's all about hiding my crimes. Perfect, so now we have made a tube. For this next part, we're going to cinch one of the ends of the tube closed with our darning needle and a single strand of the yarn. I'm inserting my darning needle through one of the stitches towards the top and just going in and out. I've chosen to give myself quite a bit of yarn to work with here because we're going to be going around this end of the tube, not once, but at least twice, if not 3 times. So this is the first time around. And I'm just going in and out through some of the stitches. And after I go through a few, I'm going to start cinching it together, just pushing it together, just like this. You can see it starts forming ridges. And I'm going to continue in that fashion all the way around. So go through a few stitches, cinch, go through a few stitches, cinch. And you can see the end of the tube has gotten much smaller by the time we're finishing up round 1, but it's still not entirely closed yet. So I'm going to take my darning needle with the yarn still attached and continue in another round. And we're going to do round 2 just like we did round 1. So go through a few stitches, cinch, go through a few stitches, cinch, and just get that hole much, much smaller. So after round 2, you can see this is pretty much all closed up, but for good measure, I'm going to sew actually directly through where the hole was. You can see I'm going right under it. I'll do that a few times. And then once I do that, I'm going to shove my yarn through to the inside because again, hide your crimes. Pull it all the way through and then tie it off because no one needs to see what happens inside the poof. Oh, hi, it's me. So sorry to interrupt. I just want to let you know I appreciate your view, and if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and maybe hit that subscribe button. Okay, that's it. Back to the tutorial. Now it really starts to become a poof, so I'm taking my buffalo snow, but use your polyfill, whatever. And I like to start adding the stuffing on the outside edge and going around in a circle and really building it up, and then I'll fill in the middle towards the end. But that's just my method. Like, just put the stuffing in it, y'all. It'll be fine. And the only important thing is to really overstuff it. It's going to seem silly, but you gotta overstuff it. It's going to look absolutely bonkers, but I promise it's gonna pay off. So, okay, here we go. It is filled to the brim with stuffing. I love it. And now we have to close it up in the same way that we did on the other side. So maybe jam that down. And here I'm just going to do the exact same thing with my darning needle and yarn. Go in and out that outermost edge and cinch it as I go. And I'm going to go around probably 2 or 3 times, but this is literally exactly the same as what we just did on the other side. Tie off that end. And just shove it through the stitches. It's fine. Literally no one's going to know. And that's a poof. Ah, look at it. You are going to love these. They are the softest things ever. They're great for grown-ups or kids. And look at that beautiful texture that you get just from back loop only single crochet. Absolutely gorgeous. And now, yes, it looks a little bit crazy because it's so big right now, but after you sit on it a few times, it will shorten just like the one on the right, but both are beautiful, right? I hope you enjoy making these giant floor poofs. If you post anything to Instagram or TikTok, please tag me so I can see them. It's like the highlight of my day whenever that happens. So until we meet again, please stay safe, wash your hands, and happy crocheting.